Raccoons and foxes are the most representative animals the Japanese hear in folklore that deceptive or fully human. Like most of the Japanese kids I know, I grew up hearing or reading Japanese folk tales, and animals are important characters there. For example, there's a story where smaller, moderate animals and creatures revenge a mean and bossy monkey. Back to the topic about raccoons and foxes, they perform a shape shifting to become someone else, such as someone's close family, a person of power, or an attractive female. Those deceptive characters are most likely end up getting scolded or reprimanded by those who were targeted one time. And kids will learn that they should not be like those silly and deceptive animals, but become a better person. And these animals are not necessarily accepted as true, even to those little kids. But my mother used to tell me about some grown ups who claimed to have met with the deceptive animals. When my mother was a little kid, there was a grown up who went to the neighboring town by going beyond the mountain on foot. They lived in a small village, so there were no cars, no street lamps of any kind on the way. The person was late to leave the place for home. He had been doing some business over there, and at the time he was in the mountain, it was pitch dark. But this person somehow made it to come home the next morning, but he was drenched with stinky manure to his whole body, from head to toe. With all his seriousness, he explains to everyone that he had met with an old lady who said to him, "You must be tired having to walk in the mountain, and it's so dark here. Come inside my home and you can take a bath and relax." So he decides to go into the house to get into a bath and started to take a nap somehow. After a while, he woke up to find himself lying on the bare ground in the midst of the mountain, and there was a manure pond beside him, and he noticed that he was all wet with that foul thing. So what he had thought to be a hot bathtub turned out to be a manure pond. He then explains to everyone that old lady must have been a raccoon who deceived him for fun. And my mom said to me it was hard to believe, even for a little kid like me. But I heard those kind of people a couple of times when I was a kid. And my father, who was living in town, said he must have been making an excuse. He didn't want to say he had accidentally fallen into the manure pond in the mountain. And then my mom says, "Nobody knows. What I can say is there were grown-ups who claimed to have been fooled by a raccoon." There were many episodes like these, with specific names of a person or a place. Even ogre or ghost comes into play. For example, the wife a man was living with turned out to be a non-human, and she fled after her secret is revealed. My favorite story is Jashikiwarashi, household fairies who play joyfully during the midnight when everyone is asleep. It is typically believed that the house with those household fairies will thrive and grow rich. But on the other hand, the house will get poor and ruined if these kids stay away. It's typically believed that the kids stay away when the people of the house become mean or arrogant, which also makes me think modesty and humble mind are a good thing. There are also a lot of manga books and anime TV programs. We were reading or watching them all the time as a kid. Decades ago, those contents were pretty much humane and heartful. I guess that may have something to do with the Japanese people's sense of morality or sentiment. To some extent, of course. We're living in a dream in a sense, so why not enjoy and make fun stories in it? In a way, I'm living here to check what I have thought, heard, or seen in my inner ear or eye to become real in front of my physical eyes.